मैं प्रश्न पे खत्म कर दूंगा। ठीक। Okay, good morning, everybody. Today I am going to discuss the cultivation of chrysanthemum. So, however, chrysanthemum in Hindi is known as Guldaudi, and chrysanthemum is also known as the Queen of Autumn. So, chrysanthemum is very important cut flower crop. So, in this, the wide range of colors available. So, however, chrysanthemum is two types. One is annual and other is perennials. So, annual chrysanthemum is Chrysanthemum indicum, and perennials Chrysanthemum morifolium, Dendranthema grandiflora, etc. And this chrysanthemum belongs to family Asteraceae that came from the aster. So old name of this family is Compositae, and the characteristics of this family is in this family Asteraceae, flower arrangement is two types. On the periphery is ray florets, and in the center is disc florets. And chrysanthemum is originated from the northern hemispheres in China. And this is a very beautiful cut flower crop. And this is also known as the national flower of Japan. So, usage of chrysanthemum. So, number one is cut flowers, loose flowers, pot mums, hanging baskets, beddings, and border plants. So, chrysanthemum flowers we can use in different cut flowers. So, in cut flowers, long stems, more petals, and opening slowly. So, in this is classification is RAS of chrysanthemum. So, majority of flowers we use as a cut flowers that we use to prepare the bouquets and for flower arrangement. So, chrysanthemum is a short day plants. So, normally we do planting in June, July, and that plant is ready for flowering in September, October. So, we can say the flower bud induction is occurs in September, October, and it bloom the October, November, December, and January. So, we can say the particularly short days conditions. So this is a very important winter season cut flower crop. And loose flowers. So in loose flowers we can see the stemless, and their shelf life is also short. So these flowers we can use for offering to gods and goddess, garland making, and the petals of these flowers we can use for rangoli making, So we can decorate the floors, etc. Pot mums. So chrysanthemum we can also grow in the pots as a pot plants for beautification of surroundings. Hanging baskets. So in hanging gardens we can also grow the chrysanthemums. Bedding. So I mean the lawns, etc., or in our home gardens, we can grow the different varieties of chrysanthemum in beds as a bedding plants. And border plant, a kind of aging we can grow as a border plant. So different bases of chrysanthemum classification. Is number one is the inflorescence, number two photoperiod, and number three is temperature. So classification based on inflorescence. So, so based on the inflorescence, chrysanthemum is classified in total 12 groups: single, anemone, Korean, double, decorative, compound, incurved or incurving, reflexed, quill, Fuji, and spider. So all these type chrysanthemums have unique characteristics so that you can study in detail in the TK Bose textbooks. Then classification based on the temperature. So based on the temperature, chrysanthemums are three types: thermopositive, thermonegative, and thermozero. So number one is thermopositive. So in this low temperature between 10 to 27 degrees Celsius, inhibit or delay the bud initiation. So low temperature between 10 to 27 degrees Celsius, inhibit or delay the bud initiation, which occur more consistently at 16 degrees Celsius. High temperature over 27 degrees Celsius accelerates bud initiation but delay flowering. So in positive, in this group chrysanthemums, when temperature is low, in between 10 to 27 degrees Celsius, in that range of temperature, these chrysanthemums inhibit or delay the flowering or flower bud initiation. But when temperature is high, over 27 degrees Celsius, these chrysanthemum varieties accelerates bud initiation. So we can say the bud initiation starts. So this delay in flowering. Then thermonegative. Thermonegative indicates when temperature is low, chrysanthemum varieties response. So we can say in thermopositive varieties, only flower bud initiation occurs when temperature is high. But in thermonegative varieties, bud initiation occurs at low temperature to high temperature. We can say the in between 10 to 27 degrees Celsius. But when temperature goes high, then bud initiation delays and also the bud development delays. Then third category, thermozero, flowering occurs at any temperature between 10 and 27 degrees Celsius. So more consistently, a day 27 degrees Celsius and temperature 10, and night 10 degrees Celsius. So we can see the in thermopositive variety response for flower bud initiation or flower development when temperature is high, but thermonegative varieties when temperature is low, and in thermozero that is the temperature are neutral. Okay, so no major effect of temperature. So then important cultivars. So in these major two groups, standard and spray. So standard varieties of chrysanthemums are snowball, snowdon white, and mountaineer, sonar bangla, bright golden, Annie, layman's, sonali tara, purnima, Tata Century, Thai Ching Queen, etc. Hello everyone. Today I am here to discuss about production technology for guava. So guava is a tropical fruit and botanical name of guava is Pseudium gujava L, and this guava belongs to family Myrtaceae. Chromosome number is 2 and is equal to 22, and this is originated from Peru, and botanically guava fruit is berry, that is simple fruit, and based on the ethylene production it is climacteric fruit. So here I would like to explain climacteric fruits that can ripe after harvesting, because in this one is the ethylene evolution is continue after harvesting. So guava in Hindi is also known as amrut. So guava is one of the most common fruits in India, and it ranks fourth in area and production after mango, banana, and citrus. And this one is very hardy and prolific bearer. So actually, guava is fruit bearing occurs around the year. So in this one is the three bahars, Ambe, Bahar, Mrig Bahar, Ast Bahar. So those things we will discuss later. And it is prolific bearer. So basically this is the tropical and very popular fruit in subtropical climatic conditions. In India, it is commonly called as poor man's apple or apple of tropics. So most popularly it is known as apple of tropics and widely naturalized in the country. Allahabad has the reputation of growing the best guava in the country as well as in the world. So one variety of Allahabad Safeda is also very popular, that was evolved in Allahabad. So from the Allahabad city, a name came of Awadh Sapeda. Then second point, that is the nutritional value of guava fruit. So in terms of the nutritional value, the composition and usage of guava, the fresh fruits are very rich in vitamin C. So normally vitamin C content in guava is 100 to 260 milligram per 100 gram of pulp. So however, the highest vitamin C content fruit is Barbados cherry. Then second number is amla. And third important fruit is guava in terms of the vitamin C content. And this fruit also contains vitamin A, vitamin B2, and minerals like calcium, phosphorus, and acidity is 2.4%. So carbohydrates 9 to 10%, total soluble solids 13%, and pantothenic acid, riboflavin, thymine, and niacin, also rich source of pectin. So guava is very much popular for pectin source. So highest pectin content is only in guava. And pectin is very important for jelly making. So the fresh ripe fruits are used as table or salad fruits. So we can say the fresh fruits we can use as a table purpose. Fruits are rich in pectin. So the best quality jelly can be prepared from guava. Fruits can be canned in sugar syrup or made into fruit butter, juice preparation, and in ice creams. So the leaves is dye and used in dyeing industry and also has medicinal values for curing diarrhea. Then soil and climate requirement. So being very hardy is grown successfully in wide range of soils like light sandy soils, clay, deep, rich alluvial. And in terms of the pH content of the soil is wide range. It can be grown up to from 4.5 to 8.2. So 8.2 indicates this is the salt tolerant, and it is the fruit crop of tropical, subtropical regions. The young plants are susceptible to drought and cold. So the trees are very hardy and can withstand heat and prolonged drought. A cool winter induces heavy fruiting and produces good quality fruits. The rainfall of 100 centimeter with uniform distribution is ideal for production. The optimum temperature lies between 23 to 28 degrees Celsius and can be grow up to 1500 meter above mean sea level. And in terms of the species is Psidium gojava. So we can say genus Psidium have more than 150 species. So out of 150 species, Psidium gojava, it is commercially cultivated species. Rest of them to produce fruits, but small size. And many others like Psidium guineensis, Psidium gojava, variety aromaticum, small scented fruits, Psidium pomiferum, Psidium pyriforum, Catilianum, and many other species also. Now, commercial cultivars or varieties. So L49 Lucknow Nanchas, that is also known as Sardar Guava. So in terms of the characteristics, semi-dwarf tree, chance seedling, selection from Allahabad Sapeda. So it was the chance seedling selection from Allahabad Sapeda in 1927 in Pune, and that was identified by Dr. Chima. Allahabad Sapeda, very popular in Uttar Pradesh. Banarsi, sweetest guava. Harija, profuse bearing. Chittidar, better keeping quality. Apple color, tree medium, 4 to 5.2 meters in height. And Berupur, commercial cultivar of West Bengal. Other varieties like Apsi, Allahabad Round, Allahabad Surkha, Saharanpur Seedless, Nagpur Seedless, Red Fleshed, Seedless Kohir, Lalit and Shweta. And also some hybrids available. Saped Jam, that is the cross between Allahabad Sapeda and Kohir. Kohir Sapeda, that is Kohir into Allahabad Sapeda. Hybrid 1 seedless into Allahabad Sapeda. Hybrid 16-1 apple color into Allahabad Sapeda. CISS G1 seedling selection and CISS G2 seedling selection, that is from Central Institute of Subtropical Horticulture, and also from Haryana Agriculture University, Isar Sapeda and Isar Surkha. So these are the commercially important varieties. And in terms of the propagation, guava is commercially propagated by air layering or ground layering. And in terms of the planting, planting is done during monsoon season at the spacing of 6 meter into 6 meter by opening of 90 cubic centimeter pits provided with the 30 to 40 kg FIM, dried leaves, or 1 kilogram single superphosphate. And right now, meadow orcharding is also very important. So meadow orchard system is a new concept of guava planting, which has been developed for the first time in India at CISS, Central Institute for Subtropical Horticulture, Lucknow, by Dr. Gorakh Singh. So in this meadow orcharding system, the planting is done at 2 meter row to row into 1 meter plant to plant distance, which gives density of 5,000 plants per hectare. And comparison between traditional and meadow orchard system of guava. So in terms of the attribute traditional system and meadow system, bearing after 2 years in traditional system, but in meadow orchard from first year. And in terms of the production, average yield 12 to 20 tons per hectare. But in case of the meadow orchard is 40 to 60 tons per hectare. So we can say almost 3 times production. Yield is 3 times in meadow systems. And management difficult to manage due to large tree size. And in case of the meadow system, it's very easy to manage due to small trees. And labor requirement requires more labor in traditional system, and in meadow system is less labors. Production cost in traditional system is high, but in meadow system is low. Harvesting in traditional system is little difficult, but in meadow orchard is easy. And quality terms large canopy, poor sunlight penetration, and poor quality of fruits. In a small canopy, better air and sunlight penetration. So less chances of incidence of diseases. So quality is better quality. Irrigation immediately after planting. Plants are watered during summer and winter season. Orchard is irrigated at an interval of 4 to 6 in winter. 4 to 6 days in summer and 10 to 15 days in winters. Manuring. So initially 30 to 40 kilograms. After that 20 kilograms farmyard manures per plant. And also nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So nitrogen fertilizer we should apply in the split doses. Or in terms of the intercultural operations, weed control. So the orchard should be kept always free from weeds during rainy season. And weeding is done periodically. Light harrowing can check the weeds effectively. The weed growth around the seedlings should be kept down and used as a must. Intercropping, vegetables and leguminous crops like peas and cowpeas, gram can be successfully grown in as a intercrops. Or in terms of the bar treatment, there are three distinct flowering seasons with corresponding harvesting periods: rainy, winter, and springs. So it is desirable to take only one crops in a year. So bar treatment is practice of regulating crops to obtain better yield and quality of fruits in desired seasons, this is achieved by withholding the irrigation. So in this one, we restrict the irrigation, no watering, no irrigation, root exposure to hot sun before monsoon. So we can dig out and expose the roots. So in these plants can get rest. So after that, with the filling of organic manures and other fertilizers, so that will enhance the profuse flowering. And root pruning, wintering, flower thinning, and spray of naphthalene acetic acid and 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid, urea, etc. So regarding the bar treatments in guava, 3 bars, Ambe bar, Mirik bar, Tusk bar, already told you in the previous slides. So in Ambe bar, flowering occurs in February, March, and fruiting July, August. So in this one, fruit quality is poor. In Mirik bar, flowering occurs in June, July, and fruiting October to December, and fruit quality is excellent. Tusk bar, flowering October, November, and we can see the fruits in February, March. So fruits are good, but low yield. And pest and diseases. So in terms of the pest, fruit fly, mealybugs, scale, and bark-eating caterpillars. These are the important pests. So for controlling this, we can spray the systemic pesticides and diseases. Wilt in 1935, Uttar Pradesh, and this occurs due to Fusarium solani, and this is the very dangerous disease. So commercial disease is Fusarium wilt, and in this one we can control by pruning as well as the spray of carbendazim, or we can say the Bavastin, anthracnose, fruit canker, fruit rot, Oristyler and rot, leaf spot. These are the common diseases. And physiological disorders is bronzing. So bronzing, you can see in leaves symptoms purplish in color, or in terms of the fruits you can see on this slide. So nutritional disorder, and this is leaf turn yellow, and some interveinal tissues of old leaves turns red to purplish red. Terminal 1 or 2 pairs of leaves remain green. Causes due to deficiency of phosphorus, potassium, and zinc. And control is follow good orchard management practices, adopting balanced nutrition. And Allahabad Sapeda, this is a very popular variety of Uttar Pradesh and is free from bronzing disorder. So in terms of the control, we can apply the 20 kg farmyard manure, 1 kg single super phosphate, and 0.5 kilograms muriate of potash, or 100 gram zinc sulfate. Harvesting and yield. Harvesting fruits, guava fruits ripen 5 months after flowering, and they are harvested when the fruits turn greenish yellow. Ripening is associated with a change of skin color from green to yellow. Guava trees with seed origin starts bearing when the trees are 4 or 5 years old, while vegetative propagated guava starts bearing at the age of 2nd to 3rd years. harvesting of guava needs extra care because the fruits has soft, thin skin. So it is normally harvested manually to avoid physical injuries. In terms of the yield, the average yield in India is about 9 tons per hectare, but it can be as high as 25 to 35 tons per hectare in Gangetic plains. A 10-year-old plants yield 1,000 to 1,500 fruits per year per tree. Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss about top working and double working. So first we will discuss about top working. But before we discuss the top working, we must know about budding and grafting. So what is budding and grafting? So in this one, first thing, you should understand in vegetative propagation or asexual propagation, we multiply plants vegetatively. So in that, like cutting, layering, or specialized vegetative structures, only single plant involved. But in same vegetative propagation or asexual propagation, budding and grafting, both type vegetative propagation are totally different. What happens in this? In budding and grafting, genetically two dissimilar plants are involved. So in budding and grafting, we join genetically two dissimilar plants as a one. That is budding and grafting. So in budding, we use a bud, healthy bud, as a sign. Or in grafting, we use twig that contains several buds as a sign. So we can say in budding or grafting, just I told you genetically two dissimilar plants involved in that. So in that lower part that contains the root system, that is root stock. So that root stock we select based on the agroclimatic conditions, soil types, as well as the some specific problems. So maybe that objective, we are selecting that root stock for nematode resistant, drought tolerant, or maybe salt tolerant, or maybe any resistant to insect pest or diseases, etc. Or maybe do in that particular soil or agroclimatic conditions that plant species can grow well. So above that we can do the grafting or budding, and we can join the genetically desirable plant or desirable genotype. So rootstock will work as to uptake the plant nutrients, or we can say the mineral nutrients, also absorb the moisture from the soil, and also for anchorage. I mean to provide the support plants to stable or keep plant in standing position. So okay, so now you know budding and grafting. So now we are coming on the main topic, top working. So what is top working? So name indicates top plus work. So I mean if we are working on the top of that plant. So for example, you have any fruit plant, or maybe you have any, we can say the perennial ornamental plant. So in perennial ornamental plant, just you can take an example of roses. So for example, in roses, your root stock is, we can say the Rosa indica variety odorata. And above that, we budded the desirable genotype that bears the creamy white color flowers. Okay. Or maybe that is the Floribunda group. So, and now you want to change that creamy white color, you want to change red roses. And also instead of the Floribunda, if you want to change hybrid tea roses. So what we can do the heavy pruning of that already existed old rose plants. And after that, we will do the budding on the top of that rose plant with desirable genotype of hybrid tea roses that bears the red color flowers. So like this, we are doing the practice that will known as the top working. So that you can do by grafting or you can do by budding. So, and similarly in case of the fruit plants are perennial in nature. So once you plant it, that plant will bear fruiting many years. So if, for example, that variety was very popular 10 years ago, but now that particular variety is not in uh, good demand in market. So now we can see the new varieties. So in this case, we can do the heavy pruning of old plant, and we can change the variety with budding and grafting. So that budding and grafting practices we are doing on the old mature trees or mature plant. So for that we are using the twig for grafting or bud for budding. That is the desirable genotype, also known as the signs. So that our prime objective to use this top working practices to change the cultivars on all fruit trees. So this is known as top working. Now double working. So in this one also name indicates double working. So I mean if you are doing the any practices two times, that is the double working. So here just you try to understand in the bottom that contains the root system, that is the root stock. And topmost part that bears the attractive fruits, or maybe flowers. We don't know what is your objective, is that. So if we are doing the budding or grafting on that particular root stock, so that sign is not growing well on that due to incompatibility. So I mean the sign genotype and root stock genotype both does not have good relationship. So both are does not have good compatibility. So what we can do for that? We have to use the third genotype in between sign and root stock, and that is known as interstock, intermediate stock. Okay. So that's why we are doing the two time these practices. So I mean the first time we will do budding or grafting on root stock. After that, if that union is successful and growing well, and that grafted part is at least when we can say the around 1 week, 1 year old, past season growth. So stem thickness is 1 to 1.5 centimeter diameter or thickness. Then we will do the budding and grafting on that interstock. So I mean the budding or grafting we are doing 2 times on the same plant. So that's why we will say this one is the double working. Then multi grafting. So what is multi grafting? Grafting union of genetically two similar genetically two dissimilar plants. So I think we are joining the genetically two dissimilar plants. But here we can say, for example, in mango. So we are using the root stock that may be wild species or local species that can grow well in that particular agroclimatic conditions or soil conditions. And you know the in mango many varieties like Amrapali, Daseri, Chosa, Bombay Green, Totapri, Langda, or many others. So I mean the if you are doing the grafting, so instead of the only one variety, if you are doing the grafting of multiple varieties on the same rootstock, that is known as the multi grafting. So in general, in case of the fruit plants, we never recommend to do the multi grafting in fruit plants. But in case of the ornamental plants, yes, we can do. Reason, because in fruit plants that will affect the production, productivity and quality. But in ornamental plants, a basic objective is just only for aesthetic. So in that, not a major problem. So this type practices, if we are doing, that is known as the multi grafting. Then multi budding. So you know the in budding, joining joining of genetically two dissimilar plant. So what we do in this, in budding we will use only single bud as a sign. So that may be in shield shape, page shape, or maybe in ring shape. So it will depend. Okay, but I mean in budding, sign part contains only single bud, but no wood except chip budding. And in case of the grafting, as I said, we use the twigs that contains the more than one buds. So we can say the several buds. So similar like that in multi grafting, if we are doing the budding of different varieties on the same rootstock, that is multi budding. So same thing we can do in fruit plants as well as the ornamental plants. So just you can take an example of roses. So in roses, through commercial propagation method is the budding. And in roses, we use generally for North Indian conditions, rootstock is Rosa indica variety odorata. So for example, in roses is multicolor flowers, white, creamish white, yellow, pale yellow, pink, red, golden yellow colors, all these things. And other than these, maybe Floribunda, Polyantha, hybrid tea, these. So I mean the on same root to stroke, if we are doing the budding practices of many varieties, maybe that is the different colors. So I mean the on same plant we can enjoy the different flowers of same species. So I mean the on single plant of rose, you can pluck the pink flowers, you can pluck the yellow flowers, you can pluck the creamish white flowers, or red flowers, all these things. So this one is the multi-budding because we are doing the budding more than one times on same plant. So that's it. Thanks.